Good morning, students. So today we are going to discuss about life processes, the second part of this lecture, and it includes the human digestive system. So let us first an overview. Digestive system is one of the most important systems of human physiology. Why? Because it breaks down the complex food into simpler usable form and it produces the energy which is necessary for the daily life works of an organism. So basically digestive system helps in generating the energy what we need in our day-to-day life to do certain kind of works. It is composed of two different things. What are these? Number one, the alimentary canal. Basically, it is the canal through which the food passes. And the second one is digestive gland. That is the organ which secretes enzymes which is needed for the digestion of the food. So what are the major organs? That is mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. And what are the accessory organs? The accessory organs are liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and along with that salivary glands. Let us move ahead and see the timeline. The entry of the food through which the entry of the food through the mouth is known as what? Ingestion. Whenever we take food through our mouth, that is known as what? Ingestion. Then that food gets digested in the alimentary canal by the enzymatic actions of the glands. Now the glands, what we have said earlier, these glands helps in the enzymatic actions and it converts this complex food into simpler forms. As soon as they are converted to simpler forms, they are absorbed by the system, and once they are absorbed they reach the individual cells, and in the individual cells these components are again formed and into such kind of things which are necessary for the human being. The thing which is left out is known as waste and it is removed from the body at regular period of interval. Now let us see the timeline of this process from ingestion to digestion. We can divide it into 5 different processes: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. What are the basic things? It is written along with that. Ingestion is the taking in of food, digestion is the breakdown of food, absorption is the absorption of simpler constituents, assimilation is the absorbed nutrients are again formed inside the human body as they are needed, and finally egestion, that is the removal of the waste from our body. Now let us discuss about this human physiology in a broader way. First of all comes mouth. So it has a pH of 7.0, that is the neutral pH. It is the first part of the human digestive system. It is the entry point of the food. The structures that help in digestion inside the mouth are number one, that is teeth. It helps in cut, tear and grinding the food. Now teeth are how many different types? Teeth are of 4 different types: incisor, canine, premolar and molar. In case of the adults, the dental formula is 2, 1, 2, 3. And in case of the infants, in case of the non-adults who are not adult yet, in those cases the dental formula is 2102. Other than this, what we have tongue, which is used as a masticating organ. It helps in mastication, that means mixing the food with saliva. This saliva comes from the salivary glands. There are 3 different salivary glands. One is sublingual gland, which is present below the tongue. One is submandibulary gland, which is present below the mandible, that is the upper part of our face. And the third one is parotid, which is present beneath the 2 ears. All these 3 salivary glands releases saliva, which helps in moistening the food, which contains the enzyme and begins the digestion of the starch into smaller polysaccharide. What is the function of mouth? It helps in mechanical digestion and increases the surface area for faster chemical digestion. Whenever we take the food, we chew it. Due to this chewing, it increases the surface area, which helps in faster chemical digestions. Next, we have esophagus. It is the tube which connects the mouth with the stomach. It is running through the thoracic cavity. It is present behind the windpipe. The trachea contains a special organ that is known as epiglottis, which controls the movement of the food and air through the windpipe and the food pipe. When the wind is moving, the food pipe is closed. When the food is moving, the windpipe is closed, so that these things doesn't get mixed up with each other. Moving of the food into the esophagus while swallowing is being helped by this esophagus. Now the food which is going down through the esophagus goes through a rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles, and it is known as peristalsis. This peristalsis movement helps in the contraction and relaxation of this esophagus, which results in the movement of the food down from the mouth to the stomach. What is the function? It helps in the lining of the esophagus, secretes mucus, which helps in lubrication, and it helps in the movement of the food. Next comes the most important organ of the digestive system, that is stomach. It is a J-shaped muscular sac which contains inner folds called rug. It increases the surface area of the stomach. Why does it contain the inner folds? These inner folds increases the surface area of the stomach. You have to keep this one in your mind. Whenever we see folds, that means these folds nothing but help in the increasing the surface area of the particular organ. It contains three different sections, that is cardia, fundus and pylori. Cardia is the section which is present near to the heart. Fundus is the midsection and pylorus is the end section of the stomach. What are the functions? Number one, stomach performs the mechanical digestion by churning the bolus. What is bolus? The food that is inside the mouth. Whenever we take the food from outside, that is converted into bolus inside our mouth, and it helps the bolus to mix with the gastric juices which is secreted by the inner lining of the stomach. The gastric juice contains HCl, salts, enzyme, water and mucus. This HCl helps in the breakdown of the food and also kills the bacteria which comes along with the food, and thus keeps our body protected from any kind of external bacteria. The bolus which came inside the stomach, after staying inside the stomach, it is named as what? Chyme. Now, the enzymes inside the stomach are found in the acidic environment. As we know that the stomach releases HCl, hence the enzymes which acts inside the stomach acts in the acidic condition. It has a pH of 2.0, which it kills the microbes inside the bolus. The mucus which is secreted by the stomach protects the stomach from digesting itself, because it is also a skin. It can get digested by the action of the acid. This action of the acid is being compensated by the mucus which is secreted by the inner linings of the stomach. The stomach also secretes pepsin, which is responsible for the protein digestion. It breaks down the large proteins into small polypeptides. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind here, that the pH of the stomach is how much? 2.0. It is quite different from 7.0 of the mouth. Inside the mouth, the enzymes helps in the digestion of the carbohydrates. Enzymes like alpha amylase. Alpha amylase helps in the digestion of the carbohydrates. But inside the stomach, these enzymes cannot work properly. Why? Because you have to keep in mind that enzymes works at a particular pH. If it is working at 7.0, it will work at 7.0 only. If any enzyme is working at 2.0, it will work at 2.0 only. It won't occur that the enzyme which is working at 7.0 will work at 2.0 or vice versa. So we have to keep this one in our mind. Next thing, we have to keep in mind while studying about the stomach, that why doesn't the stomach digest itself? When it is releasing certain kind of chemicals which can digest the food, it can also digest the stomach also, but there is some protective mechanism for this process of, for combating this process of digestion of the stomach. There are three protective mechanisms which is taken by the stomach from getting itself digested. The first one is what? It releases gastric juices in small amount until the food is present. When the food is absent, it releases gastric juices in very small amount. When the food is present, it releases gastric juice at huge amounts. Secondly, the stomach secretes mucus which coats the inner lining of the stomach, and it protects it from the gastric juices. And third mechanism is what? The pepsin which is found inside the digestive juice or the gastric juice. This pepsin is released in the form of pepsinogen. This pepsinogen is the inactive form of pepsin. This pepsinogen comes in contact with the HCl present inside the stomach, and it gets converted to pepsin. Pepsinogen to pepsin conversion takes the help of hydrochloric acid, and thus the action of hydrochloric acid is to convert the pepsinogen to pepsin only, and not to digest the stomach. So this sums up today's lecture. Hope you all understood what I have taught you today. What we have discussed about the mouth, we have discussed about esophagus, we have discussed about the stomach. Now what you will do, you will go through your book, you will read these three things, you will read these three organs, you will make a note of it, and then you will try to send me in any one of these places, whichever is feasible to you. Until the next session, thank you and see you in the next session. Till then, stay safe and stay happy.